Hi, I'm going to show you how to use my super easy watercolors for Procreate brushes. This is an 11 by 15 canvas at 300 dpi, and my background color is set to a very light off-white color. Here you can see the hex code. You can copy it if you want. I like doing this because usually watercolor paper isn't super white, well, at least the one I like to paint in. So this gives it a more realistic look. What I'm going to do is just add my paper texture first. In the first layer, I'm going to choose my hot press paper brush. And I usually like using a light brown. Here's the hex code for it. Or a light yellow, here's the hex code, or you could even add a lighter gray. Okay, so I'm going to show you with a dark color first so you can see what this brush does. You can't lift your pencil until you cover the whole canvas. Same thing if you're using your finger. If you lift it midway, you're going to get these overlaps, and you don't want that because you want this to look like paper. So let's choose the light brown and just fill it in. And you can also use different colors to make it richer. Maybe one pass with this color, and one maybe with this yellow. Right now the texture is very subtle, so I'm going to add some gray. You can do as many passes as you want. If you keep adding them, you'll see that the texture gets darker. But I don't like it so dark because I want it to resemble hot press watercolor paper, which has a very subtle texture. I like to rename my layers so they're organized. This is my paper texture layer. This one should always be on top. In order for this to work, you must set it to a blending mode, like maybe linear burn or multiply, so it gives the right effect. If you swipe right, you can lock it. That way you won't make the mistake of painting on it. Now you need a new layer. Drag it under here, and I'll call it paint. I'm going to show you the same cactus plant with every brush so you can see the difference amongst them. Let's start with this one. This is the soft wash brush. I like this one for creating backgrounds and adding details. I suggest using these brushes with an Apple pencil or a pressure stylus. I'll show you how they work without a stylus. If you're using your finger, it won't have pressure sensitivity, so it will be very transparent and you'll have to go over it several times, and it won't act exactly the same as with a pencil. All these brushes have something called a fallout effect. That means that it has a lot of charge at the beginning, but as you go, the paint runs out just like in a real brush. But I'll explain more about this later in the video. Anyway, this one's really cool to create large areas. Sometimes this brush creates these unpredictable effects, just like real watercolors, and I really love that. If you're using this to create a shape, for example like a little cactus, I would just paint it in several times. If you paint in a circle and you push in the middle, it kind of expands the paint to the outside and creates those edges. I love that effect in real watercolors, so I'm really happy I can make them here in my digital watercolors. I'm going to use this purple for you to see how the colors interact. It won't show us a true purple. You would have to use a different brush on top of this to get a true purple. So this brush is not good for adding other colors on top if you want the color to look like purple, for example, because it's just going to be multiplying them. Now the burnt edges brush. This brush is used mostly to create burnt edges around something you already painted. For that, alpha lock is really useful. If you swipe with two fingers to the right, you get the alpha lock. See the checkerboard there? It means that I'm only able to paint on the same area that has already been painted and I can't paint outside it. We're using the same color we used to paint the cactus. And what this does is that it darkens the paint that's already there. Very subtle here because the paint is very transparent. So if I paint in there, you'll see that it's darkening the paint. You can use it to create dark areas like that, or you can make it smaller and use it to darken the edges of your paint. I just like going around some areas and tapping, so it's not just one uniform drag, It's like little taps. Now the burnt edges brush. The idea of these brushes is to layer colors so they won't be very dark at the beginning, just like how you're supposed to paint watercolors. You can go in and make it darker. Select the soft fill brush. And here, if I add a purple with this brush, it actually looks purple. If you don't want it to be that dark, just reduce the opacity, and then you can start adding other colors softly and just layer them up. Oh, we didn't try the purple on this one, so let's do it. That's a weird color. It's purple, but once it touches here, it changes the color. I'll turn on alpha lock again and choose burnt edges. Now on this one, you're really going to see what the burnt edges brush can do, because on these ones you can't really see it because they're very transparent. I'm not painting here because I don't want to create a dark spot in the middle, so I'm just softly tapping out here. You can also make it smaller and just paint around the edges. And you can also use it to darken areas of your painting, so it's great to create shadows. And if you want to soften the shadows or anything like that, just use the Add Water Blend brush and it will soften your edges. Let's move on to the Fill brush. This one has a sharper edge than all of these ones. These ones don't have sharp edges. If we're adding the purple onto this one, it shows like actually purple. And then again, you can blend in with the Add Water Blend brush. If you press really hard, you add more of the color that you have in your brush. And if you press softly, it will act like it's very, very watery. This is the details brush, but you can use it to create shapes too. But what it's made specifically for is to create lines with crisp edges. Especially if you make your brush smaller, it's great for creating little details. If you tilt your brush, it gets thicker, and if you press harder, it also gets a tiny bit bolder. And finally, the Add Water Blend brush. You can use it to create shapes too, but it's amazing to blend colors like adding water. This one is transparent, so you have to add more layers of paint. If you paint your shape and you wait for the paint to start running out without lifting it, you can give it really soft faded edges. Apply more pressure to add more color, and then press softly to achieve the soft blend. Great! Now let's see how much paint they have, and I'll show you exactly what I mean with the fallout effect. I'm going to show you here how each one falls out. That means the paint runs out. I'll use this red. Let's create another layer. This is a soft wash brush. This one runs out really fast. Now I'm pressing really hard so it lasts a little bit more. This is the burnt edges brush. I'm pressing softly. It also falls out really fast. Now I'm pressing hard, and it lasts a bit more. Now the fill brush. The fallout is great because it gives your brushes a more realistic effect. But sometimes, if you're creating a shape, you're going to do this and then that's not pretty. But it's very easy to fix. Just go in with the water blend brush and blend things out. Perfect. This one acts different than the others. The harder I push, the faster the paint runs out. Let's grab the details brush. I'm pressing softly here, and now I'm pressing hard. And the add water blend brush. I'm pressing really softly. Now I'm pressing harder. This one also runs out faster the harder I press on it. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the brushes. I'll leave the link on the comments where you can purchase them. The set comes with a PDF tutorial for painting a dragonfly, the color swatches for it, and even a reference picture, and a commercial license so you can create commercial projects with the brushes. Please let me know if you like them, and if you create works with them, share them with me. I love to see what you create, and let me know what other brushes you want me to make. Bye!